you can take it in so many different ways. Like if you're going into it, like, I just want to see some cool action and lightsaber fights. Like, I'm not trying to get too deep. Like, you'll find that.
Yes. And then there are people who are like, wow, this is, and they're so emotionally connected to it.
And learning more and watching the series and reading the comic books and all of the offshoots.
Yeah,
and
because
all of
we're
that.
drawn to it.
I think that's really something beautiful that then comes about, like with these huge franchises, is you get the development of fandom. People just like have this really wonderful sense of belonging, like not only inside of the fictional content itself, which fictional content is meant to reflect the reality around us.
Hey, pod people. Welcome to this week's episode of Why Do People Do That? Today, we are excited to have Kristine McPartlin from Mind the Force to have a really cool conversation about her podcast, diving in and analyzing Star Wars and all of the characters of Star Wars. And so we're excited to talk about fandom and Star Wars, the psychology behind it, and just see where the conversation goes. Kristine, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I'm very excited to be here. I love that you guys are really getting into the mood with the lightsabers.
Yeah.
It's
Just put it down. I've still got my hand on it, disappointed that it doesn't turn on.
I'm always down to hold a good saber. And these are nice. These are very nice. Mine are currently like on loan to a friend of mine who did a cosplay recently. And I was like, just take them and have fun. They're currently just sitting in the corner in my room until my next cosplay convention.
My daughter just spent like $400 on one at Disney. And I was like, what are you going to do with this? And she just stared at me like, what do you mean?
Yeah, it's
a lightsaber.
Yeah, I'm just going to love it. Like,
Yeah.
what kind of
Like, what the heck?
None of this is making sense to me.
Right. So that's
The point.
That's the
Right, the
point.
point.
Right. So pod people, this is our mission. By the end of this hour, we are going to make Heather want to watch Star Wars. She's never seen Star Wars.
That's not true. I saw them in like the 80s when they came out, like the three of them.
All right, so you've seen the original
I
trilogy.
can't remember, but there's Empire Strikes Back is one of them.
Yes.
Do you remember them?
No.
Well, then it doesn't count.
And see, well, I think it's exciting because it's such a big story. Like there are really two ways to absorb Star Wars, because it is a lot of IP. It's a lot of movies, it's a lot of television, and like Star Wars nerds get so excited about it. Everyone's like, oh. It feels like there's a big barrier to entry. I can imagine.
It does seem kind of overwhelming.
Right, daunting. It's kind of like taking on Marvel from the beginning. Like, oh, like that's a lot.
Where do you even start?
Yeah, I don't have 500 hours to watch all this stuff.
People are
I did
confused that they have to do 4, 5, 6, and then 1, 2, 3, and then 7, 8, 9.
Yeah, it can feel daunting. Like there are camps that feel, oh, you need to watch it in release order. So you need to watch 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9. I'm a personal believer of chronological order, because if you start from episode 1, which is part of the prequel trilogy, then you really get the full story. Because really the main movies are the story of Anakin Skywalker. Well, the main 6 movies, the 7, 8, 9 that's like an after story. That's really the story of Anakin Skywalker, and with episode 1, you're starting with him as a child. And you're like, and then like you watch him grow up a little bit, and you're kind of seeing, particularly from a mental health point of view, you're seeing his character develop, you're seeing how his mental health is being affected by childhood trauma and tragedy with his mom, and then development of his relationship with his wife and Jedi and religion and belief. And then you understand how he then, big spoiler, he falls to the dark side and becomes Darth Vader, right?
No.
You did know that part, right?
I did.
Okay.
And to me, I think it makes sense. Like I watched A New Hope years and years ago.
That's the first one that came out.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's the original one.
And the original ones are the ones from the 80s, though, right?
Yeah, so those are the ones that came out in the 70s and the 80s. I watched it and I didn't really get it. I was like, why do I care about these characters? It's a cool adventure epic, I guess. But when I watched it from the beginning of Anakin's story, it made sense. So by the time you get back to A New Hope, after watching like Revenge of the Sith, you're like, oh my God, this is crazy. Like there's the babies and they're grown up, and there's Vader and he's doing all the evil stuff, and the Emperor is taking over, and you're so much more invested in the characters by then.
You know what, though? I'm thinking you kind of miss being mind fucked, right? Like my experience, right? Because I'm sitting here listening to you. I'm like, this is fascinating because you watched it. And so you're so emotionally invested in Anakin and who he is and what his journey was and what happens to him that now when you see Vader, like you have a totally different experience of watching Vader.
Absolutely.
So when I watched the first 3, right, and it was in the 80s, so I was small, right? I was born in 74, so I was somewhere between 5 and 10-ish when they came out, right? So when
great age to watch Star Wars.
Oh my gosh, I remember seeing them in the movie theaters. So when I watched Star Wars and I loved it, I was just like, Darth Vader's a bad guy.
Right.
And I didn't like Darth Vader. And he was this mean, evil, horrible guy. And you're rooting for them to get him.
Yeah.
Right. And, then like the story unfolds and you start to learn more and more, but not the whole story, just enough to know that, Darth Vader was Luke Skywalker's father.
Right.
Sorry.
Another spoiler.
That I know.
Okay.
Luke, I am your father. I know that.
That's also such a huge cinematic moment that, because it was an Empire Strikes Back, correct?
Yes.
And it's like, Luke, I am your father. I can imagine the
and
theater
like,
went nuts.
You're like, oh shit, what? Right? And so you're having,
that happen?
So it starts to unfold. So by Return of the Jedi, like by the end, you start to sort of like have a soft spot for Darth Vader. And you're like, God, I wonder what happened to him. Like, how did this happen?
Yeah.
So then you're all excited, waiting for, and we were like tricked for like 20 years, like waiting for
there was like
the backstory. And then you watch the backstory and you're like, oh my God, this is so sad and heartbreaking.
The tragedy of, it's all a big tragic space opera.
I can't,
Star Wars
I can't.
Opera.
It is totally
it's a space opera because it's so dramatic.
It is so dramatic.
It's so dramatic and larger than life. But it is the tragedy of Anakin Skywalker is really what the story is.
So then you're watching it and you're like, I can't believe that I hated Darth Vader. And now I just feel so bad for him.
Yeah.
And it's just like a totally, like, so for you to watch it in a totally different order than I watched it in, we have a different emotional experience watching it. But I think I want to kind of go there for a minute, just the emotional experience of watching it, because that is the whole premise behind your podcast. So when I spoke to you on the phone this week and I asked you about Mind the Force and what is the purpose of Mind the Force, what's the idea, I just found it so fascinating. And it was really, I thought, such a really amazing, fun, and original idea, but also something that is so important in the mental health space, because people really do connect so much to these big universes, right? Star Wars and Marvel. And there's a bunch of others, right? Harry Potter. There's so many. And so the reality is there's a really deep reason why, as humans, we connect to these big universes. And your podcast speaks to that. So if we could take a moment where you can kind of just share with our viewers and listeners about what the premise is of your podcast and what you do.
Yeah, we never did Kristine's intro. We just like barreled right through and jumped in.
We're so excited to talk about Star Wars.
You've got a lightsaber. You've got toys.
Oh my God, Star Wars is so exciting. So go for it.
So I'm Kristine McPartlin, and I host Mind the Force podcast, along with my co-host James Abadi. Shout out, James. So what we do at Mind the Force is we look at mental health through the lens of fiction. And our choice of fiction is Star Wars because it's such a rich cinematic universe with such nuanced characters and so many interesting cinematic themes. Mm-hmm. And we look at, it's a heavy character retrospective. We do ask larger questions and look at bigger themes, but we really will focus in on a character and examine their journey throughout all of the Star Wars IP, of which there is a lot. There's not only the 12 movies, there's over 300 novels.
Wow.
There's decades worth of comic books. There's now many television shows that have actually spanned back from the 80s when they started making the Ewok show.
Oh my God,
up until
Ewoks.
Modern.
Yeah.
There you go.
Like, wait, I know Ewoks.
There you go. See, we're doing it. We're making it happen. Up until modern day, there's still now like award-winning television shows coming out, like shows like Andor and Ahsoka. The Mandalorian is a huge one. Have you ever seen a thing of the little baby Yoda? It's a very popular motif nowadays. I have so much Baby Yoda stuff from my baby shower.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I'm sure.
And we look at these characters through their journeys and their mental health, and really pick it apart. Really pick apart these experiences, whether it's childhood trauma or experiencing like the trials of war, different relationships, religious trials and tribulations, and sometimes it can be something as minor as, like, say, Luke with his desire for adventure and, like, kind of, he's like, oh, I'm so bored on this planet. I would go out in the universe and, like, see something and experience life, to very major, complex traumas of, like, my favorite Star Wars character is Darth Maul, who you wouldn't know from the movies because he was, like, just a singular character in one movie. But then in the television shows, he got so fleshed out, and he was raised by a sociopath, and like has this very internal battle of like wanting to do good, but like pretty much like almost like pushing the rock up the mountain, and it's always falling back down. Like he's always destined to fail. And I find him to be an immensely complex character. He's my favorite. He's our little.
That's interesting. Yeah, because I only know him like
from the Phantom Menace.
Yeah,
no, the guy with the red face and the double lightsaber.
Yeah, he was a badass.
Yeah, right, very badass. By the end of Clone Wars, the animated series, he's a completely like fleshed out, complex character.
Okay,
and he's my personal favorite. He's actually getting his own television show. So excited! They announced that this year at Star Wars Celebration in Japan. Yeah. Which if I didn't get pregnant, I would have gone to.
Do you ever, and you don't have to reveal why or anything like that. I don't want to put you on the spot, but this is the part that I find super interesting. Do you ever like really kind of like really explore within yourself? Like, why am I drawn to that character? Why do I like Darth Maul so much? Why is he my favorite? Like to kind of like look within yourself and say, why is that of all the characters? Why is he the one I'm drawn to?
Absolutely. He's a psychopath. If I didn't question that would be strange. No, I think I enjoyed his story. He's very entertaining in the show. And that also comes a lot from his particular voice actor, Sam Witwer. In the show he's very fun to listen to. He has this great accent. He's just cheeky. He's almost like a naughty little scamp. Like, oh gosh, Maul, you and your shenanigans. Like, murdering people. It's very I think the more I've learned about the character, I don't know if it's so much a relatability, just more of an interest of the more I've learned about him, the more I then come to understand him. I'm like, oh, like why do people do that? Like, oh, this is why you do what you do. It's almost like what else was supposed to get spit out?
That's
from
probably
these, very harsh experiences.
But that's probably part of the draw for people when they look at these like Star Wars or Marvel or Harry Potter, or any of these things. I think that through the act of understanding the characters we watch in all of these shows, movies, TVs, comic books, whatever it is, we learn about humanity. We learn about people. And even if it's not that we particularly relate to that person and say, well, that person's story is just like my story and I'm a psychopath too, right? It doesn't have to be that, but maybe it's understanding the psychopath. Yeah. Right? Like I think that one of the draws to Anakin and Darth Vader is this idea, and it's interesting because Heather and I recently did a whole podcast episode called Am I the Asshole? And the whole premise of it was to talk about how nobody is ever just an asshole. Everyone has a story and everybody is the way they are for a reason. So even somebody who might be seen as like bad or evil or even a sociopath, right? They're made, not born. And so everybody has a story, even Darth Vader. Like Darth Vader is not a bad guy. He's just a traumatized kid, right?
Which is someone who doesn't know what you're talking about. Darth Vader's the bad guy.
He's so not the bad guy.
And it's so, and I think it's something that's
He's a victim.
I think it's something that's really fun because, like you said, like when the movies first came out, it was very black and white. Like Darth Vader, this guy all in black. Like he's the bad guy. You knew from the second he walked on the screen, oh, that's the bad guy. And you had Luke, who was all blonde haired, blue eyed, dressed in white. Like, oh, he's clearly the good guy. Like it was so black and white. And I think what we got to then do, not only as they went on with the original trilogy, but then with the prequels, is like peel those layers back and be like, oh, like there's
more to it.
Yeah, there's more to it. There's more nuance here. Like like you said, there was a reason behind all of that. And and he's just a traumatized, sad guy. Like he never stops being sad the whole time he's Vader. Like, and even like though he's doing these quote unquote evil things, I mean, think about in a war, both sides thinks they're right. So it's like you're defending your values and your principles and what you think is right. So, I mean, what's the definition of evil in that case?
Right. What do you think Darth Vader's principles and values were? What was he protecting? What do you think his story was as Darth Vader?
Yeah. Is that a real question or a rhetorical question?
A real question. Like if we were to interview Darth Vader, right, in Empire Strikes Back, right? Like what do you think his values were? Like what would be his side of the war?
I mean, at that point, I can imagine him being very dissociated from the war. At that point, he's like, because at that point, by the time of Empire Strikes Back, like he sees his son, like he's realizing, oh my God, my children didn't die when Padme died. He's still mourning He never stops mourning his wife who died.
Yes. You said children, though. That's what threw me, too. I'm like, wait, there's more than one? Luke has siblings?
Well, yes, Leia.
You don't know?
Ooh. Well, no, we're just spoiling everything.
She doesn't know. Go watch it.
Yeah, no, there is
Is Leia
another
his sister? Or
yes.
Didn't they date?
No.
Oh, all right.
No,
she dates Han Solo.
Yeah, well, she marries Han Solo.
Yeah, they have kids.
There was a kiss, but they didn't know.
They didn't know.
So it doesn't count.
The incest didn't matter because they didn't know.
And it was just to make Han jealous.
It didn't count. So I think, I mean, he believed because he had to believe that the Jedi were bad.
Vader.
Yeah.
At that point.
I mean, I also don't think the Jedi are that great. That's a personal opinion.
Why do you think they're bad?
And that's actually one of the things that drew me to Star Wars was the complexity of like religious values. So I had a bit of like a strange religious upbringing, and spent a lot of time like questioning like, what do I believe? What do I feel? And I parsed through that a lot as a teenager. And so Star Wars was very attractive in that there was this very complex and layered situation going on with the Jedi of like, okay, on the surface, like they believe in the Force. They're this like force for greater good. Like they're supposed to be the good guys. That's how we're supposed to feel. That's how it's presented to us. But it's so complex because what is the suppression of emotions? Is that actually like a healthy like way to process your feelings and your experiences to just be like, oh, we don't do negative feelings here.
We don't do feelings at all.
Yeah, they don't do feelings at all. Like,
they don't get married.
To love,
right?
Like love and passion, like getting angry or being passionate or like things like that. Like those are signs of the dark side.
So any kind of emotional expression was not really allowed.
Kind of. You shouldn't be too. I don't think you can't be happy, but like you shouldn't be materialistic. You shouldn't be too passionate about anything in particular, I guess, unless it's the Force. Like,
it's confusing, right? Because like the whole situation with Anakin and his mother, right? Like he knew that his mother was in trouble. Like he could feel it, he can sense it, he knew, but he couldn't go and save her because there was no reason for that mission. Like you weren't supposed to be attached to another person. You're supposed to just let it go. So you don't go out of your way and leave your post and leave your mission. And at that time he was protecting Padme and he wasn't supposed to leave his post or leave his mission to go save his mother.
Yeah.
Right. And so I kind of look at it, and I could just be making this up. I could be totally wrong. I kind of look at it like he had a lot of anger towards Jedi because it was like his...
Well, it was a lot of resentment, and they set that up from episode 1, that resentment builds over the course of his life. for fun context. So you have Padawans, essentially Jedi students, Jedi learners, and they are not taken, but like their families essentially give them to the Jedi Order when they're very young. I'm talking like toddler age. So, and the reasoning behind that is that because they sense that they're strong in the Force and like they'll be able to be trained to be Jedi and manipulate the Force. And they're taken as toddlers so they don't remember their families, so that they really devote themselves to the Jedi Order, to the study of like honing the Force, so they don't have that attachment. So essentially they're too young to miss their families. Like a lot of older Jedi will say like, I don't remember my families.
Oh, wow.
Like Obi-Wan Kenobi at one point in one of the shows says like, I think I had a brother. I vaguely remember my parents. I was so young when they took me. And what's special about Anakin Skywalker is that he was about 9 or 10 years old when he was brought into the Jedi Order. And I won't spoil the story as to how.
You can.
Because it's a whole thing. But he was quite older and was very close with his mother. They were both enslaved and he had no father. Another thing I'll let you find out about. And so it was a big thing for him to leave his mom. Like, what do you mean? Like, I'm like, okay, I've won my freedom. I can't bring my mom with me. What do you mean I have to leave her if I want to be a Jedi? And that was a point of major trauma for him throughout his life, was the idea of leaving his mother in this situation and not really knowing what happened to her and not being able to contact her.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, her situation improved and then it didn't improve. She got married, but then she got all kidnapped and stuff, and then she died. And then he actually...
Womp.
Yeah.
And he couldn't save her because he had to, it wasn't part of the Jedi mission, right? So I feel like there's got to be, you know, some resentment towards the Jedi. I mean, he was angry at himself, I think, for not getting there in time.
For not like going back sooner.
For not listening to, you know, because there's that conflict between who he is as a human and his dedication to being a Jedi.
Yeah.
Right. And so here he is now, this angry guy, Darth Vader, who really believes the Jedi are bad and believes that he has to.
Yeah. Because he blames them for the death of his mom. And he feels that if he had been able to be more powerful, he would have been able to save his wife, who he was led to believe died basically because of him. Like, oh, you got so angry. Like, because this is the guy who's the emperor, the big, like, scary, wrinkly guy in the robe. That's
the real bad guy.
Okay.
Right, the actual bad guy. That's Darth Sidious, who spent about 13 years grooming Anakin from the time that he was a 9-10-year-old boy to the time he was 23 and, like, fell to the dark side and became Darth Vader. He would, like... He's a Sith Lord, and he plays the long game. So he was doing this, like, all, like, manipulating really the galaxy with all the politics, which is another super cool thing about Star Wars, all the political intrigue.
Yep.
So he's manipulating politics and religious orders, and really, he's playing chess, and the entire galaxy is playing checkers. And so he's like, okay, I see how strong this child is. I'm going to essentially groom him over time, and I'm going to become his best friend, and I'm going to really, like, you know, plant those, like, negative, intrusive thoughts in there over time so that he just becomes very, like, able to be manipulated into what my grander plans are. And so he essentially convinces him to turn to the dark side when he's a very messed up, traumatized adult, convinces him that the Jedi are bad. Oh, we have to kill all of these Jedi so that we can save the galaxy and we can, like, rework the political order for the greater good. Oh, you got so angry you killed your wife. That's so sad. Don't you feel bad and just want to keep doing exactly what I say? Like, clearly I'm the best, like, source of advice you have. And he thought that for years. And I do believe he eventually, I mean, obviously finds out I couldn't have killed Padme because these children are here. Like, our children were born.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that was really the turning point for him, to circle back to your question.
Mm-hmm.
I was getting there. I think that was really the turning point for him, was realizing, like, oh my God, like, these are me and Padme's children. So I think it came around eventually, like, no, this is what matters. Like, the Emperor doesn't matter. The galaxy doesn't matter. I need to save
I think
my
he also
son.
realized he was manipulated.
Yeah.
And he came back into his feelings, right?
Yeah.
Because they're, you know, it's the Jedi and, you know, the Sith, the Force, the dark side, whatever, that are always trying to suppress his feelings. And so I think what's so fascinating about Star Wars is all the different nuances of the fact that you can't suppress human emotion.
Yeah.
Right. And it also talks about, you know, politics and religion and, you know, just how easily people can be manipulated and brainwashed, because you look at how all these little children are taken and brought into, you know, being Jedi, but then the same thing happens to stormtroopers. All the stormtroopers are also a bunch of people that are stolen from their families and just basically given a number as a name, and put in a uniform and just told, you work for us, you serve us. And there's just all of this blind loyalty to the Jedi, blind loyalty to the dark side, whatever it may be. And so there's so many different pieces of humanity and society that exists within Star Wars that I think that the reason it draws in so many people is because it speaks to every single person out there with every single kind of issue that you have. And I think that as humans, as fans watching any TV show or Netflix series or universe or whatever it is, we're drawn to something that reflects who we are. And we're drawn to something that reflects our experiences and our inner conflicts and our inner turmoil. And I think that we can, probably without even realizing it, learn so much about ourselves and the others around us, because we're always looking to understand more about ourselves and understand more about others. Yeah. We want to know, we want to understand. I just had a session this morning with a patient, and I was talking to him and I said, we are drawn to wanting to fill in the blanks. When we don't know something, we will write a story and then sometimes trick ourselves into believing the story we've written is the truth and not realize, hey, wait a minute, I don't know that that's really what happened. I just made that up, right? Yeah. We crave information and facts and understanding the why to us, to others, to the world that we live in, because it makes us feel safe. And I think that when we watch this big universe like Star Wars and we see all of these different things showing up, we see politics, we see religion, we see trauma, we see fear of emotion, we see emotional suppression, we see loss, we see so much. We're all drawn to it. And we're all drawn to different characters, and we're all drawn to different storylines that are happening. Yeah. Right?
Does everyone get that? Because I'm feeling like there are people that are just watching it for the cool, like, sound effects and, like, visual stuff. Like, is everyone watching this whole universe? I mean, I guess not, like, with the same kind of lens and looking to, you know.
I think that's what's so fun about it is you can take it in so many different ways. Like, if you're going into it, like, I just want to see some cool action and lightsaber fights. Like, I'm not trying to get too deep. Like, you'll find that.
Yeah, it's a cool battle. I like to watch, you know, sound effects and cool spaceships. I think the difference is there's the person who watches Star Wars and then moves on with their lives and never thinks about it again.
There's Kristine.
Yes. And then there are people who are like, wow, and they're so emotionally connected to it.
And learning more and watching the series and reading the comic books and all of the offshoots.
Yeah, because
all of
we're
that.
drawn to it. And that's why there's the Harry Potter fans, right? There's the Marvel fans. You know, there's, you know, so many other things I can't think of right now because my brain is mush.
And well, I think that's really something beautiful that then comes about, like, with these huge franchises, is you get the development of fandom. Yeah. Which can make people just, like, have this really wonderful sense of belonging, like, not only inside of the fictional content itself, which fictional content is meant to reflect the reality around us. Like, that's what great storytelling is. It should be reflecting themes that we, like, may feel in our everyday lives. But the sense of community, especially with big fandoms like Star Wars, are awesome.
So like a Comic-Con or like a Star Wars convention.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Like, if you ever go to big, like, convention, like a Comic-Con or, like, smaller ones where maybe it's, like, just more, like, specific to one fandom, like, you don't know anything about these people. Like, you don't know what they do for work. You don't know anything about their lives. all they know is that they love the thing you love.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many easy ways to express that, like whether it's like wearing a t-shirt or if you're cosplaying like in a full character costume. It's just a sense of connection and understanding. Like I feel really seen. Like, oh, I love this thing and I'm so passionate about it and I want to talk about it and look at all these other people who share that same passion.
So there is that sense of connection and being a part of something kind of greater than yourself.
It normalizes
Absolutely.
your experience, whatever that experience is, right? So when you watch, a saga, right, a series of movies or read comic books or whatever, and you connect to it emotionally, whether it's because what's going on with that character really resonates for you, or it helps you understand others in your life or people you've experienced, it gives you this sense of belonging in the world, right? Like, I get that person gets me. I understand all of the emotional nuances of that person. And it humanizes your own experience, right? It normalizes your own experience. It's like, I'm not the only person who feels that way. I'm not the only person that gets really angry and fucks up so badly that you turn into a bad guy, right? It's not just me that experiences that. It normalizes your experience. And then when you go to like a Comic-Con or, anything that really shows you how connected other people are to this thing that you love, you're like, wow, I'm not the only one that's super into this. And it's, I think the word, I know I use the word normalizing a lot, but it really is. I think people, sometimes really need that. They need that sense of belonging and connection, and they need that sense of normalcy to feel so connected to other, right? There are people who really struggle sometimes with human connection or making friends. I've worked with young people, who struggle to connect with their peers, or they feel a little bit different or left out or awkward or like they don't fit in. And they will really, enmesh themselves in these universes, whether it be Harry Potter, because I've seen a lot of really big Harry Potter fans, or Marvel or Star Wars. And they feel like they really deeply know these characters, even though they know the characters are not real people and that's not real stories. They really feel so deeply like they know these people and they feel like they're a part of something. And I think that it could actually save people's lives. It goes that deep for people who are really struggling and feeling alone. When they go to these Comic-Cons, and I've gone to a bunch of Comic-Cons with my daughter, because my daughter went through this like Marvel phase. It really started with her obsession with Tom Holland.
Fair.
And she wanted to meet Tom Holland. And so we would go to all these Comic-Cons because you could like buy the picture.
Yeah, you can do like autograph signings.
Yeah.
And
The
those
meet and greets and-
So, she wanted to meet Thor. And she wanted to
Who
meet...
doesn't want to meet Thor?
I want to meet Thor.
She wanted it. It was so funny, the picture of her and Thor. She's like up to here on him. She's like so short and he's like so tall. But we went to all these Comic-Cons and I had never been to anything like that before. And I was like, this is fascinating. And I wanted to like go up to people and like talk to them and be like, what made you want to be the stormtrooper? Or like, there was one guy I remember, I was a little bit worried about this guy. It was when we went to a convention to meet the cast of It. She was like obsessed with It because these kids, not the clown, she didn't like Pennywise, but the boys, their friendship.
Yeah.
Right? Because she was going through a hard time with friends. And so I think she was really drawn to their story and their friendship and how much they loved each other and how they fought for each other and protected each other and like risked their own lives to protect each other. I think she was so in love with that story and so drawn to it. So anyway, we went.
Child.
Yeah.
About it that way.
Yeah. So we went. She was probably in like 9th grade, 8th grade, somewhere around. So we went. We met Finn Wolfhard and the other guy, the guy that played the guy who arm got broken.
I'll be honest, I didn't watch it because it's not my kind of thing.
Jack Dylan Grazer.
So I do know that name.
She liked the two. They were her two favorites. So whatever. We went and met them. Anyway, make a long story short, I was standing online with her to meet Finn Wolfhard. And I just like turned to my left and I just see a guy standing on another line and he's a Demogorgon.
He's sick.
Right? In case people don't know, that's from Stranger Things. And it is just like the monster that just eats people.
Like a really good one, like an elaborate Demogorgon.
Oh my God, this guy really put an enormous amount of effort.
I love like just really hardcore cosplays.
You're going to do it. You got to do it.
You look like a Demogorgon in real life.
He was a hardcore. It was a little bit like, I was a little taken aback.
Because you're just like, whoa.
It was a little bit unsettling. And I looked at my daughter and I'm like, should we worry about that guy? Like, why does he want to be the Demogorgon? And like, I was so fixated on it. And I was like, I think I want to go talk to him. And my daughter was like, you will not.
You should have.
You will not go. If I was alone, I would have gone and talked to the Demogorgon. But like, why the Demogorgon?
That guy wants to do nothing more than talk about this costume.
I'm sure.
That he has slaved away on for months.
Oh my gosh.
For months.
People were taking pictures with him.
Well, that's the fun thing about when you nail a cosplay and somebody wants to take your picture. I've had a few good cosplays in my day.
Yeah.
And when someone wants to take your picture, the endorphin rush is just through the roof. You're like,
oh my gosh, people are so excited.
Take my picture. That sounds
because
great.
you are that person.
Yeah.
In that moment, you are that person. You are a part of the story, and it's so psychologically, it's so fulfilling.
Absolutely.
To be that character, which is why I was worried about the Demogorgon.
Right.
Like, why do you want to be the Demogorgon?
I will say I love cosplaying as like dark side users, and it's really cool. You ever put on a cape and just like walk through a crowd of people? You get a real like feeling of power.
Yeah.
You're just like, I got my big red lightsaber, and I got my boots, and I have my cape. And
were you
like,
Darth Maul?
I do have a Darth Maul cosplay in the works.
Okay.
It's a lot because there's a lot of face paint.
There's
a
a
ball
lot.
cap involved.
Yeah, that's a commitment.
No, I was a character from the Obi-Wan Kenobi show.
Mm-hmm.
Her name is Reva Savander, and she's a really like this like badass, like beautiful dark skinned woman with like braids, and she's so traumatized. Oh my god, she is traumatized. You would find her character fascinating. And I was able to cosplay as her one year, and my friend who came with me to Comic-Con was like, people were parting the Red Sea for you. Like when you walked down the hallway, like you felt just like, oh, I need to get out of her way. Like
because they feel your energy too.
Yeah,
you feel powerful,
really into it,
and they feel your power too.
But why her? Like, why do people choose certain characters?
I think there's a number of reasons. Like either you resonate with the character. Maybe find their outfit really fun and you're like, oh, this could be cool.
Because I do think sometimes it is just as simple as like they've got a really cool costume.
Yeah.
But I mean, for most people, there is probably a lot more to it than that. Some kind of connection to them for one reason or another.
Yeah. I also personally, I try to choose cosplay characters of color. So she was basically a black woman in Star Wars who was a villain, and that's not a very common thing. And I was just like, ooh, I would love to cosplay as her. So I got my hair done in braids, and like I had the whole costume, and I was just like, this is a cool one. So it depends. Different kinds of motivators you'll find. I love when people get really creative with costumes because it might not be so on the nose. It might be like a creative interpretation of a character, and I find those really fun. Where I'm like, oh, you're just thinking with more percentage of your brain than the rest of us.
Yeah, but I think for people, it's just emotionally so satisfying to give themselves the opportunity, right, to play somebody else, to be somebody else, and to be a part of a world that in one way or another helps them to heal whatever it is inside of them that needs to heal, right? Maybe I'm a shy and quiet person in real life, but I can put on this costume and go into this place and I can be this powerful character and everyone sees me and respects me because they know who I am.
Yeah.
So I think for a lot of people, it's a really, I think, corrective kind of experience.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You can put on that skin for a few hours and be like, I am this powerful character. Like I am this hero. Like, or I am this villain. Like I like dressing up as a villain because it's even like the other side of like, I don't really need to emulate this character, but this character gets to express things that I don't.
Yeah.
Especially like in everyday polite society where it's like, oh, I wouldn't actually act on this. Like I'm not actually a psychopath, or I'm not actually like this ill-intentioned
Yeah, but maybe there's some suppressed want to stand up for something that you don't feel like you have the safety or the space to do it.
Yeah.
And this gives you the opportunity. And maybe that is why you're drawn to Darth Maul or to this character, right? I know who she is because I watched Obi-Wan, but I don't remember her name.
Well, she's also known as Third Sister. So
okay.
They would have called her that a lot.
Okay.
So it varies. And I think that's what's fun is you can bring whatever you want to the table. Like if you want to slave away on a costume for months and you're really proud of that and you have the artistic skill, because some of these artists are incredible.
Some of these costumes are amazing. And I'm just like, wow.
Yeah, like they're like the character come to life.
Yeah, they put
really
like
impressive.
So much. I mean, I feel like sometimes the costume is nicer than it is in the actual movie.
Right.
It's like, holy crap. Yeah.
Or you can do something as simple as wear a t-shirt. And just to express like, this is what I love. This is what I'm passionate about. This is who I am. And it's almost like wearing your heart on your sleeve. And then you're going to go to this environment where you're just going to find like-minded people. It's almost like going to a bowling club or a book club. You're looking for like-mindedness. It's just in this big conglomerative fandom. And you're likely to find a lot of like-minded people, which is great.
Yeah, people need that.
And they do that. Like, people need people. Like, as great Barbara once said.
So do you think there's something different about the people drawn to like Star Wars versus Marvel versus like, Harry Potter, for example?
I wouldn't say so.
Probably not.
I think it's whatever tickles your fancy. I think it's whatever resonates with you. And you can love all of it. Like I was I still am, a big Doctor Who fan. I don't know if you guys know the big, long-standing BBC sci-fi show.
My dad loved that show, Doctor Who. I used to watch it with him when I was a kid.
Yeah, no, that's that was my bread and butter for like 10 years before I was introduced to Star Wars, and I just ended up loving it. Like it was, and I can still enjoy the Marvel movies, and I enjoy all the Harry Potter movies, and I think you can engage in all these things in different ways. And some people go really hard for all of them, and that's great. And I think that's the joy of it. Like that's really the fandom of it. We interviewed a really wonderful scholar named Gail Stever, and she was an expert in fandom. She had been studying it very heavily since the 90s, where she actually started her thesis was on Michael Jackson fandom. Oh,
that was me.
Yeah. And
boy.
So she saw, it was amazing. She saw Michael Jackson like 26 times. I want to say it was on the Thriller tour. And she interviewed.
That's when I was the big, oh my gosh.
Who knows? Maybe Gail Stever interviewed you.
I was that little girl at the concert that was just crying. And I remember my mother being like, what are you crying about?
Sparkly glove.
My sparkly glove and my beaded jacket. And I was like, I just can't believe I'm in the same room as him. I can't believe it.
I love it.
And then I told my parents that I was aspiring to be Michael Jackson's maid when I grew up so that I could be in his house and touch his things.
That must have made them very proud.
They were so proud. But go ahead. I interrupted you. Sorry.
No, it's fine. And it was just, it's incredible the research that she did. And she went on to study like Josh Groban fandom and then Lord of the Rings fandom. And she didn't do Star Wars because she's like, I'm already a Star Wars fan. So I don't want to delve into that. I want to learn about things I don't know about. And the way that she described fandom was kind of what we talked about, like that sense of community, that sense of belonging, and like positivity and positive feelings towards the fandom or the celebrity or whatever it is you're fanning out about. And what she said is that a question she gets a lot is, what do you do about like negative fandom? About like, like the dark side of fandom where people like are obsessed and it becomes this unhealthy place. And she's like, there's no, like, that's not fandom. Like, there's no such thing as toxic fandom. Like, you can have trolls and you can have people who take things in a negative light. But fandom in itself is a positive thing.
I believe it is. I think it's a really positive part of people's lives. It just gives them a sense of belonging and connection. I think it's a big dopamine release for a lot of people. It's rewarding. It feels good. Right. The only negative to it is if somebody is going way beyond what they can in terms of like, spending money to travel around and go to concerts or conventions, and they feel like they need to be at every Comic-Con even though they can't afford to be. Yeah. That can become negative for somebody.
Quite commercialized.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Like, things are so expensive. Concerts are so expensive now.
I
don't know if anyone went to see Taylor Swift. Beyonce.
My
I'm
daughter.
Like, I don't
yeah.
have $1,000 to spend on a concert ticket.
It was a ridiculous amount of money for my daughters to go see Taylor Swift. I'm like, I could like buy a house for the amount of money that it's costing me to like take you guys to this concert.
Like, they're making a movie. You can watch it at home.
It's bananas. I know, but I think that that's the only downside I can think of is that people get so drawn to something that it becomes, toxic in that way. But just the actual enjoyment of it and the like of it and the love of it and the excitement of it and wanting to watch it, that in and of itself is not negative.
But I mean, I think, you're making a good point about finding kind of your people in your world and some, the people that you have share a common interest. But I think outside of the, one day a year when Comic-Con is in Manhattan, like you're living in a world where people might not be obsessed with Star Wars or Harry Potter. And like the people on the bus on the way to school are going to kind of think you're a geek if all you're talking about is that. And like you're not able to kind of relate to them or have conversations about anything else.
I think that people just need to know when and where it's the right time or place, right? Like if you could be like Lara was a huge fan of Marvel, or she went through her Harry Potter phase also. She wasn't talking about Marvel or Harry Potter to people that weren't interested in Marvel or Harry Potter. She was talking to them about whatever she needed to talk to them about to connect with them to get herself through the school day, But then she would come home from a really hard day of hating school and thinking everybody sucked to, Mom, will you watch Glee with me? And like she went through her Glee phase where she was obsessed with Glee and she loved Glee and just wanted to watch Glee over and over and over again.
Your daughter wants to hang out. I'm into all this.
Yeah. She just kind of goes from thing to thing. And that was, I think, her saving grace is just feeling like for when she was really into it, she would just watch it over and over and over again. And she felt like, I know these boys. This is a really nice friendship. And it makes me feel good to see this. And it makes me feel hopeful that that's something I can be a part of one day. Or I'm going to watch Harry Potter because I really love this storyline and it's fun to watch. And she would just sit and watch it. But she would get up the next morning and go to school and she wasn't, wearing a cape and talking about, Harry Potter and wands or whatever. She knew where it was or wasn't appropriate.
And I guess it becomes like really an escape to be able to kind of immerse yourself in that whole world and kind of shut out, the mean kids at school and kind of bring yourself to that other magical world.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the like meaningful power behind escapism is so important to find. Like, and we all look for it. Like whether you're looking for it in movies or in books or in music, sports.
That's a big.
That's a big escapism, and it's a huge fandom.
Huge.
Oh my god! Like people are like, "Oh, those Star Wars fans are crazy," but you're sitting here tailgating at the Giants game, painting your face
full
blue.
Giants gear, and
responding.
Like, do you think you're not a fanatic?
Right, responding emotionally to whether they win or lose as if you're on the team, because there's definitely something emotionally to feeling like you're a part of that team, to feeling like you're a Met or you're a Yankee, you're an Islander, right? You're a part of it. You're a part of something. You're a part of this group of people who loves the Mets.
Yeah, you know? So passionate. I was just on the train here, and two guys were talking about baseball, and one guy was getting so mad on the train.
Defending his team, right?
Yeah, he was very passionate about it. And it's like, okay, dude, like...
Because he feels like he's a part of it.
Go for it.
Part of who he is.
You want to be happy about, like... I mean, don't, trash anything after the game. That's a little much.
I think that it really just, people allow it to become part of their identity.
Yeah.
Right. I'm Joe and I love the Yankees, or, I'm Mary and I love Harry Potter, right? I'm Kristine and I love Star Wars.
Yeah, dude.
I'm Heather and I like Marvel, right? Whatever it is, it becomes part of your identity. And I think it's a part of your identity that feels good.
It does feel good.
And helps you connect to others. And I think that some people really need that because they have a hard time finding connection.
The amount of just introverted people. I love that your daughter found belonging and community and fandom and found joy in it.
She also made friends through it.
That's so good. I was also a lonely little middle schooler, so that makes me so happy. And the fact that today it's so much more mainstream. I feel like when I was a kid, definitely when things like Star Wars were coming out, it's oh, that's for nerds, that's for geeks, and it was very fringe. And on the side, like, it wasn't cool to read comic books. It wasn't cool to watch like sci-fi movies and fantasy shows and all of that. And now it has become so mainstream that it's almost like it's not cool if you don't watch it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, like you didn't see like the new Marvel movie? Like, okay. It's like, I don't know. I feel like it's becoming so much more socially acceptable, which is so great for like introverted kids who are like, I really resonate with these characters and I really, want to express that. And now they're like having the room to do so. And I feel like it's nice because then adults who were like in the same boat as kids like can find that same joy even as adults. Like there's no age limit on fandom at all. Like my first co-host before I was working with James was actually my Uncle Matt. Shout out Uncle Matt. He's the best. He was actually a really great podcast host. And he saw Star Wars when he was a kid in the theaters and was just a nerd his entire life.
Yeah.
Like the 20-year span between the original trilogy and the prequels, he's like, I was reading every single book and every single comic book, and we were just kind of in this no man's land waiting. We had to wait 20 years 2 times between 1980 and 2000 for 1, 2, and 3 to come out, and then another 20 years for 7, 8, 9 to come out. Yeah, I'm very spoiled. I only watched Star Wars for the first time in 2020.
Yeah.
And so you had them all at once.
I got to do a crazy binge through majority of the content over the course of like maybe 2 or 3 years. And by the end of it, I was just so turned out. I'm like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. And then I started a podcast about it. And it was just so exciting because it was just like, I feel like I got to absorb it differently.
Yeah.
Because you'll have fans who do have that nostalgic connection. And that's why, like, you'll bless the Star Wars fandom, but there's a lot of negative feelings that go around in the Star Wars fandom because Star Wars fans have very strong opinions, and they are allowed to have those opinions. But I think it's interesting how I feel like the reason that some fans don't maybe resonate with newer content, or they're like, oh, I don't like the direction they're going, or I don't like the content they're making. And I don't know if it's perfect. Of course not. Nothing's perfect. I feel like it doesn't line up with the feelings that they felt as a child.
Yeah.
And because it's not hitting that chord, then like, oh, this isn't Star Wars. Or
They're disappointed. Because the story didn't go the way they wanted it to go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm kind of lucky because I don't have that nostalgia with it, that I can kind of take everything at face value. I can look at it as this like big, wide universe and see these like nuanced characters who have just become more fleshed out as time has gone on. And I can absorb it that way. And so I can enjoy it as a larger storyline, whether like rather than these kind of like individual feelings. Like Star Wars makes me feel things. Oh my God, it can be so sad sometimes. It can make you sad and happy and excited and just like this whole like spectrum of emotions. But I'm not sitting here being, oh, well, I didn't feel that way as a kid, so I don't think it's good because it's not like.
And that's really so interesting. You getting to kind of see it all as an adult over the course versus someone who was first introduced as a child with in terms of where they were developmentally and how they processed it. And then coming into these prequel things as an adult with a different understanding of the world and the universe and human behavior and, all of that.
Right. Like
is going to have a different response than someone like you who just kind of gets them all at once.
Yeah. Like I was able to enjoy the nuances rather, because you would think someone who watched it as a kid, you're then going like the originals as a kid would then come to the prequels that has more emotional nuance in the story and you'd be ready to absorb that. But for a lot that
not necessarily.
Yeah. No, it's
because you've had 20 years to kind of imagine what you wanted that to be too.
They don't like
you've
it.
created the story in your head. And if that's not it, that's not going to.
They don't want to feel bad for Darth Vader.
Yeah.
They don't want to.
Right.
He's the bad guy. And now you're making me like him. And now you're making me feel bad for him. I don't want to like and feel bad for the bad guy. I want him to be the bad guy. I think a lot of people reject that because it becomes a conflict that could trigger the inner conflict that they have about somebody else in their life or something else in their life. They don't, they want things to be black and white.
Yeah, they want it to be simple. They're like, no, I want it to be compartmentalized, and this is where this feeling goes, and this is the kind of person that this is.
Yep.
I feel like that's so interesting now with a lot of media that we get more anti-hero stories, similar to the prequels and like seeing why Darth Vader is the way he is. I personally love an anti-hero story.
Yeah.
Like I love knowing what makes people tick. Like what led you to do this?
Society tends to reject that. Like they just want to be angry at someone or something. You know, we see that, you know, I don't want to bring up like a sore topic, but like when you think about like the kid in Michigan who, you know, was a school shooter who walked into a building and he was, you know, 15 or 16 years old. And it turns out he was mentally ill and he was hearing voices and he had been begging for help and he had been begging to be stopped. And everyone just wants to be angry at him because he walked into a school one day and shot people. And that is a terrible thing. And those people did not deserve to die. And that is all of it is terrible. But I do also feel bad for that kid.
Yeah.
Because he was, you know, tormented and struggling and suffering and was asking for help and nobody helped him. And so there are all these stories. I mean, it's like the Joker, right?
Yep.
There's all these stories about, you know, the bad guy that people just want to be the bad. I just want that guy to be the bad guy. I just want to hate him. I don't want to find out his story and feel bad for him. I don't want to have compassion.
Yeah.
I just want to scapegoat a group of people, or I want to scapegoat a person, right? There's a lot of that going on in society, right?
It's easier.
Need to scapegoat, right? And I think that people often reject the idea that everybody, even those you're trying to scapegoat as the reason or the problem or whatnot, have a story. And I think that there are those people who embrace that, like you do, and say, tell me this. I don't want to just think Darth Maul is a psychopath. I want to understand why he's a psychopath. I want to hear his story. I want to hear about his trauma. I want to understand him. I want to see why he got here. But then there are people that are just like, brings up too much conflict in my brain. Can't handle it. Let's just hate Darth Maul and that's it.
And let me ask you guys, as the licensed professionals here, of which I am not. I have no mental health background whatsoever, which is why I interview mental health professionals.
Yep.
Like, why do you feel like people don't want to consider that nuance because they aren't taking those big, hard looks at themselves?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, they're not taking the time to look in the mirror and be like, why am I doing what I'm doing?
It's hard. It's easier
hard
to just, you know, jump to a conclusion, to label something and be done with it and not spend the time thinking about it or trying to understand it.
Yeah.
It's triggering an inner conflict, either about themselves or other in their life. That is something that is triggering an emotion that's too hard for them to sit with. They can't tolerate it, so they want to reject it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's easier to just be like, well, I'm just going to sit in my feeling that I'm right. I don't want to question the idea, like, am I wrong? Am I the asshole?
Right.
Am I the asshole?
Right. They don't want that. They don't. And it's not that they're being difficult on purpose. I think that everybody's in a different place with their own emotions, and everyone has different emotional intelligence, or they have different senses of self-awareness, or they've been through different things in their life. There could be a history of trauma and they need to keep things compartmentalized and they just can't bring those things together, bridge those things together. It might serve them to just see things in black and white. It might serve them to say it's good. It's either good or it's bad, and it can't be mixed. The bad person was once good and they became bad because they went through something and they were victimized. And, you know, it brings up too much pain for them. And so they avoid it, I think, unknowingly. I don't think that's a conscious decision that they make. So I definitely think there are people who watched 4, 5, and 6, right? They watched it in order. They watched A New Hope and whatnot. And they were, you know, loyal to the characters and the feelings they had towards the characters. Mm-hmm. And then they watched the story unfold 20 years later.
Yeah.
And they're like, what? I don't want to feel bad for Darth Vader. I want it, like, he's the bad guy. It just, it's triggering something inside of them from their own experience that's too hard. And that's probably, I think, why a lot of people didn't like 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah. You know, I definitely think that's part of it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think that's what's so interesting now about media, because we are getting these more complex stories, and I feel like you get more divisive opinions because people, it's like you said, like maybe people are like, I don't want to deal with these emotions. Like I don't want to watch Penguin and wonder like, oh, why, like how did this villain become a villain? Like I don't care. Like I want my classic Westerns. I want my good guys to be good guys in the big white hats. And
well, it's easier.
Yep.
It's easier. It's easier to digest. It's easier to be like, okay, I know what's going to happen. I know what I'm supposed to be feeling.
It's just clear lines.
It's predictable. And it feels safe.
It's predictable and safe. Exactly. Digging into your emotions is not something that everybody wants to do. The people that want to do it are going to be drawn to it. And the people that don't want to do it are going to just look at it at face value, say, okay, it was either entertaining or not, and they're going to be done with it and never go back to it again.
Yeah.
Right. It's the people, I think, that want to be introspective and they want to dig deeper and they want to, you know, kind of be connected to their own inner experience and their emotions and self-awareness and want to have a deeper understanding of others that will connect to it and be like, wow, you know, when I watched, and I told you this on the phone, when I watched Revenge of the Sith and I saw the demise of Anakin and how he got there, that it was his fear of losing Padme that led him right into the dark side, right? Yep. It was the need to save her and the need to have the power to save her because of his childhood trauma, right? That really triggered me. And I was like, I'm not lying to you when I tell you I cried for 6 weeks. I couldn't sleep.
That's the power of Star Wars.
I was crying. And the only thing that could console me, not even kidding you, was putting on Return of the Jedi, fast forwarding to the very end so that I could see the Anakin ghost and be like, he's okay. It's okay. They're all there. They're all together. It's okay. And I had to keep watching it. And like my husband would come home from work and he would be like, are you looking for the Anakin ghost again? And I'm like, I'm so upset. I need to see the Anakin ghost. See, everything's okay. Right. And he just like watched it and was like, that was cool. And I was just like, I need to be checked into a hospital. Like I can't function.
Yeah, no, the emotional, like just turmoil it can bring up.
And I knew what it was for me. It was my own personal stuff, right? Just about loss and fear. Yeah. And so I knew what the trigger was for me. But man, did it dig deep for me and poke at me. But it's because I'm in touch with that and I allow those experiences that I was able to be so emotionally drawn in and touched by it and understand it and allowed myself to immerse myself in the experience of it. Right, because I allow those emotions and I allow myself to sit with that and process it, but not everybody's open to that.
Yeah, not everybody,
and that's okay.
That.
Yeah,
and it is okay. Everyone hopefully finds that kind of healing in their own time.
Yep. But I think the point is, you know, and I see that we're getting to that point where we have to kind of wrap up. I think that the big picture here is that regardless of whether it's a sports team or Star Wars or Harry Potter or Marvel or Lord of the Rings or whatever it is, right? You know, we are drawn to things. And I think that it is a really healthy experience. And I think that we can grow so much if we allow it and be curious about it. What is it that I like about this? Why am I drawn to this? Why do I get such a big dopamine release from being a part of this? And don't be ashamed of it. Allow it. Allow yourself to be a part of it. Be proud of it. Let it be part of your identity.
Yeah, no, enjoy the things that you enjoy just for enjoyment's sake. Like even if you don't wrangle up and go to conventions and like go, like you don't have to go to the nines. Right. In order to enjoy something. Like there's very low barriers to entry.
Right. You don't have to be a Demogorgon at the convention.
You do not have to dress up as a Demogorgon.
And, you know, we're living in a world, too, where you know, enjoy what you enjoy, but you can always find a group of other people that enjoy that. There are fan pages for everything and little like subreddits and all kinds of things where you can connect to other people that like Demogorgons, whatever they are. And I'm going to need to Google when this is over.
Oh my God, Stranger Things.
Nope.
Did you not watch Stranger Things? Nope. What is wrong with you?
Sorry.
There is nothing wrong with you. All these things are living in the universe. They're there for you whenever you want.
You have so much to watch. I'm excited for you. You're so lucky. You get to go watch these things. You get to watch these things for the first time.
It is exciting.
So nice for you.
Aw.
Yeah.
You have things to look forward to. It's
yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
All right, we'll do this again. And you'll be like, I'm gonna need a better lightsaber. Like you're gonna be very well
one that turns on.
Do you want the one that turns on?
I might need it. Can I hold the one that turns
You can
on
hold
and
it
turn it on?
while we say goodbye.
Okay.
Bam.
Look.
That's a good guy one, by the way.
Green, good.
Yeah,
He was
Jedi.
good.
They're Jedi.
That was exciting.
Oh, my lightsabers.
I do.
Good.
Oh, shit.
They're tricky little things.
So before we end,
And I break the lightsaber.
anybody have any last thoughts? Anything that we didn't say that's kind of like burning a hole in your brain that wants to come out?
I could listen to Kristine talk about this all day. Like, really, the passion and like the understanding of all of it is really fascinating.
Yeah, I think it's such a cool podcast that you started. I've tried to listen to it this week, but like I keep getting interrupted and I'm so mad. When you told me you had like 11 hours of footage about Anakin and analyzing Anakin, I was like, oh my God, I got to
That's right up her alley.
dive into this. This is exciting. So I am going to listen to it. I listened,
So am I.
I listened to like 5 minutes of banter between you and your uncle
Oh my God.
on the
He's
very
so
first podcast. But
Do I watch the movies first or do I watch the podcast first?
good. You should go watch the movies.
watch the
Okay.
movies.
You know, we are a full spoiler podcast. We have a spoiler warning and everything of like, if you haven't watched Star Wars, you should turn around now and then
Yeah.
come back after you've watched it.
But you can decide which order you want to watch it in. You can watch it in the order in which they came out, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9, or you can just watch them like Kristine did. I didn't
Yeah, in
even
chronological
think
order.
that you could do that.
Yeah.
When my daughter went to watch it, I was like, you can't watch it like that.
No, because you.
And she's like, why? I'm like,
you get-
because.
you get the full story, and if you really want to watch like full, if you ever go really just
Yeah.
like balls to the wall, because you can incorporate the shows because those are also
Yeah.
set in a chronological time frame. So if you watch, I'm gonna mess this up. You watch episode 1, episode 2, Clone Wars the animated series, which then like filters into episode 3, and then in between A New Hope, I believe there's like 1 or 2 shows in between that. Oh yeah, because then you have the Rebels animated show, which is also excellent.
There was that movie that came out about how they stole the
Millennium Falcon.
Millennium Falcon.
Rogue One, thank you.
What was it called?
Rogue One.
Yes, Rogue One. That was that
Yes,
movie.
no, and
The Han
actually,
Solo movie.
yeah, there was the Solo movie, and then there's Rogue One, and then Rogue One segues right into A New Hope.
Yeah.
Actually, no, well, now you have Andor. So now it's Han Solo, Andor, Rogue One, A New Hope.
Yeah.
I can
So-
barely commit to the 9 movies. You're
Just watch the 9 movies.
Just watch the 9
just
movies.
9.
And then if
but-
you're interested, you
Yeah,
can
then
go and
there's-
watch all the other stuff.
And you can take the universe however you want. I think that's the best part, is you can watch the movies, and they're wonderful, and you'll have this really great story. But if you want more, there's always more.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
And they're still making content, so it's this ever expanding universe, and there's so many stories to tell and so many characters and cultures and points of view, and it's a very gluttonous experience in
Yeah.
its own way.
It's deep, it's
Very deep.
thought provoking. It's not just like mindless stuff. So you have to be able to kind of like put your thinking
See
cap
it with
on
that
and
lens. Yep.
see it with that lens. And I think that's, part of what people love about it is that it
Yeah.
just kind of like pulls you into your human experience and into your feelings, which sometimes people need
Well put.
a way to do that, that's not necessarily about them in their life, but through somebody else's experience. And so it can be very corrective in that way.
I'm excited. Looking forward to it.
I think we did it.
Mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished.
Heather's
Yes,
going to
we
watch Star
did it.
Wars. Woo! You're going to have to tell us if you liked it. We'll have to check in a future podcast to see.
I feel like I can't come here and say I didn't like it. There's so much passion in this room for it. Like, even if I don't, be like, yeah, it was great. Deep. Yep.
Right.
I'm going to quiz you.
Uh-oh.
There might be a written tattoo. You should bring a number 2 pencil.
Yeah. What planet did Luke Skywalker live on? All right. So anyway, I think it's time to wrap up. Even though we would love to keep talking to you, we'll have to just do it again one day.
I know we'll have to have follow-up. I'll have to have you guys on my show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm
Now I'm going to have
always-
to watch them so I can bring something to the table.
Well, as I mentioned before, most of our mental health professionals have never seen Star Wars. We give you kind of like a surface level information about a character or a theme that we're talking about,
Mhm.
and we're actually looking more for your like
Analysis.
professional analysis of it.
Yeah.
And the conversation just flows, and before you know it, you talked about Star Wars for an hour, And you're like, I didn't know this was so great.
Because we're talking about people.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So thank you again for being here. This was wonderful. Fun conversation. And the hour went so fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
When you're talking to, it does when you're having fun.
Yes. Yeah. 100%.
Thank you guys so much for having me. This was great.
Yeah. So pod people, don't forget to subscribe so that you can be reminded when future episodes come out. We're on YouTube and Spotify and Apple and iHeartRadio.
That's mine. iHeartRadio. Sorry.
Say it.
iHeartRadio. The one thing I know. It's where I listen to us.
So again, in case you forgot, I'm Stacy.
And I'm Heather.
And this is Kristine. And we're Why Do People Do That? We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye. Why Do People Do That was recorded and produced by Press Record Studios.